Hello and welcome to Byju's IAS. This is 16th of October 2021 and we are back with the next edition of your daily quiz. Let's begin with question number 1. The first question is on your screen. With regards to elections in India, consider the following statements and choose the incorrect ones. Number 1. The state election commissions are responsible for conducting elections to the respective state legislatures. Second, the NRIs are allowed to vote in the parliamentary elections at the respective Indian embassies. Third, e-voting is allowed only for service voters in India. You have to choose the incorrect ones, and the answer here is D. All the three given statements are wrong. Let's look at these one by one. The first statement says State Election Commission is responsible for conducting elections to the respective state legislatures. Wrong. As you would know, the Election Commission of India conducts elections to the parliament and to the state legislatures. On the other hand, the respective state election commissions are responsible for conducting elections to municipalities and to the panchayats within the state. The second statement also is wrong. The NRIs are allowed to vote, but only when they are physically present in their voting constituency. Also, in the comment section, tell me, how do you define an NRI? What exactly is the definition of an NRI? Third is also wrong. The service voters in India are allowed to vote through proxy and they are also allowed postal ballots, but they are not allowed e-voting in India. The reason why we are discussing this is because of this news article in the Hindu newspaper today, according to which the Telangana State Election Commission is thinking of carrying out an experiment under which they will be asking the people to vote through a smartphone app. So this can be a beginning of e-voting in India. Although many experts, including former chief election commissioners, have raised concerns about this experiment, but let's see how it goes. Question number 2. Tuberculosis disease is caused by parasite, virus, bacteria, or fungi. The correct answer here is bacteria. We are unfortunately living in a time that diseases have become pretty significant part of our life as well as a significant part of our syllabus. The reason why we are discussing this is because of this report by WHO, according to which TB deaths increased during the pandemic. In fact, in 2020, more people died of tuberculosis with far fewer people being diagnosed. About tuberculosis, a couple of things that you must remember is it is caused by bacterium called Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Although it mainly affects lungs in human beings, but other organs can also be affected. However, TB is a treatable and a curable disease. I want you to tell me in the comment section what is the name of vaccine given for tuberculosis. Moving on. Question number 3. If Thomas Cup is to badminton, Uber Cup is to football, golf, badminton, or basketball. The correct answer here is badminton. Now, the difference between the Thomas Cup and the Uber Cup is while Thomas Cup is played by men, so in Thomas Cup, respective countries' men's national teams participate. However, on the other hand, in Uber Cup, the women's team participate. The reason why I'm asking this question to you is because these tournaments are ongoing right now. As you can see, the Hindu newspaper carried this news today. Unfortunately, both men and women team of India lost their respective contests. India lost to Denmark in the Thomas Cup, while women crash out of the Uber Cup. So both these, Thomas Cup and Uber Cup, are related to badminton. While men participate in the Thomas Cup, the women's team participates in the Uber Cup. Moving on. Consider the following statements with regards to the Forest Conservation Act of 1980. Number 1. The Supreme Court in T.N. Godavarman Thirumalpad versus the Union of India and others in 1996 defined forest as all areas which are recorded as forest in any government record, irrespective of ownership, recognition, and classification. Second, the Act restricts the state government and other authorities to take decisions first without permission of the central government. Third, the Forest Conservation Act gives complete authority to the central government to carry out objectives of the Act. Which of these given statements is or are correct? All these 3 given statements are absolutely correct, and thus the answer here is D. The reason why we are discussing this question is because of this article in the Indian Express that talks about the government's initiative to make changes in the existing Forest Conservation Act. The author says that the government is looking to dilute the existing act by making it easier for many industries and companies to clear the forest and set up their plants, including the oil drilling industry, which is a matter of concern for not just the environmentalists but people at large. Moreover, these changes in the Act, the proposed amendments, have not been translated into other languages, and the common public has only been given 15 days of time to let the government know if they have any concerns with these changes. The author also says that while in the existing Act, the Gram Sabha had significant amount of powers to decide the use of land within their jurisdiction, their powers are also being reduced under this proposed amendment. This comes in at a time when the entire world is deliberating on how to control the impact of climate change, and that is why, as per the author, this seems to be a step in the negative direction. Time now to discuss a previous year question asked in the 2019 paper. With reference to the Constitution of India, consider the following statements. Number 1. No High Court shall have the jurisdiction to declare any central law to be constitutionally invalid. Second, an amendment to the Constitution of India cannot be called into question by the Supreme Court of India. Which of these given statements is or are correct? Pretty basic question from Indian polity. If you have read it seriously, you would know. The answer here is D. Both these are wrong. Both the High Courts and the Supreme Court are known as constitutional courts in the country. Means both the Supreme Court and all the High Courts have the power to declare a central government law as constitutionally invalid if it violates the Constitution of India. The second statement also is wrong. Any amendment to the Constitution of India can be challenged and can be struck down by the Supreme Court of India, which has been done in the past multiple times. Thus, the answer here is D. Time now to move on to the fact of the day, and today's fact is the Global Hunger Index, the GHI. As you would have noticed, the recent Global Hunger Index report came out with India getting a dismal rank of 101. In fact, India is lagging behind neighbors such as Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. Thus, we thought it's a good time to discuss the details of this report. How is this published and what aspects does it take into consideration while giving the report? Out of the total of 116 nations that have been ranked, India is ranked at 101 position, with a score of 27.5, which comes in the serious category. The GHI score is based on 4 main indicators, that is undernourishment, child wasting, child stunting, and child mortality. As expected, the Government of India does not agree with the findings of the report and have questioned the parameters on the basis of which the report has been created. Here it is important to understand that hunger is not defined as lack of food. Hunger is rather defined as lack of nutrition inside the food that you are eating. The countries are scored from 0 to 100, where 0 is the best possible score that you can get and 100 is the worst possible score. This is how the countries are judged in the Global Hunger Index. There are 3 main dimensions that are taken into consideration, including inadequate food supply, child mortality, and child undernutrition. Inadequate food supply refers to entire population, including both children and adults. On the other hand, when we talk about the child mortality, the index takes into consideration the under 5 mortality rate. It talks about wasting and stunting as one of the major reasons behind the child mortality rate. Child undernutrition, on the other hand, goes beyond the calories that are eaten by the child and rather takes into consideration the quality and nutrition that is in the meal taken up by the child. It even takes into consideration uneven distribution of food that happens within the household. This is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching.